Good evening, viewers. This is Yasir Arafin. Welcome to our VNA Talks Session 3. Today's topic is on the role of CFO in digital era. We have two distinguished guests, Mr. Kausar, the CFO of Severing Cement, who already joined with us. Mr. Abdul Kader Joaddar, CFO of Standard Bank, he will shortly join with us. Those who are new to our VNA Talks episode, there's a small background that this program is mainly to integrate and collaborate with the industry leaders, the finance and other professionals, with the growing CMA professionals and also the other finance professionals, including the qualified accountants from different professions. That's the major objectives. We already have two episodes that you can visit in VNA Talks Facebook page or VNA Talks YouTube channel. You can also, those who are the member of ICMAB, can see the videos on our CMA Vision and Action Group. For all the viewers, our today's program has live broadcast on VNA Talks Facebook page, VNA Talks YouTube channel, and also CMA Vision Action Group. So those due to business cannot join with us, you can see the program anytime when you free. So further hearing from my side, so I actually will go back to our program. আমাদের আজকের প্রোগ্রামটা মেইনলি আমরা 1 ঘন্টায় ডিভাইড করেছি, like our previous program. First 40 to 45 minutes we will hear from our two finance professionals, the distinguished finance professional, এবং পরবর্তীতে 15 to 20 minutes that will be question answer session. আপনাদের জন্য বলছি সেটা হচ্ছে যে আপনারা যেই ভার্সনে প্রোগ্রামটা দেখছেন, you can put your comment in the comment box, and from our side we can we'll definitely come back to you. Mr. Joaddar also joined with us. So thank you, Mr. Kausar and Joaddar.
Welcome.
We are really delighted in this VNA Talk station. So আমরা আসলে এখন প্রোগ্রামের শুরুতে চলে যাচ্ছি যে কাউসার ভাই বা জোয়াদ্দার ভাই, if you just briefly tell us what is about this program. I think you have by this time visited the last two episodes, এবং পরবর্তীতে আমরা কিছু কোয়েশ্চেন আনসার যেগুলো আমরা পেয়েছি যাব, এবং যেসব কোয়েশ্চেনগুলো আমরা পাবো সেগুলো আলাপ করবো আর কি।
Thank you very much, Yasir. Actually, let me take the privilege to start the program. Actually, the very topic is CFO's role in the digital era. So this is very fascinating and very timely topic, well discussed. Actually, as a matter of gratitude, আমরা এখন যে যুগে আছি, আমি এবং জোয়ারদার আমরা অলমোস্ট ক্যারিয়ার একটু আগে পরে শুরু করেছি, but we are fortunate to see almost the previous, a little part of previous era, and also gradual transformation, evolution, and today it is transforming every day the digital context. So every aspect of our life are more or less touched with digitization. If we consider like আমাদের যদি বেসিক নিডস গুলো ধরি, সবগুলোই কোনো না কোনোভাবে আজকাল ডিজিটাল মাধ্যমে ডেলিভারি হচ্ছে। সো আমি যদি কুইকলি বলি, যেমন এই ডিজিটাইজেশন এখন যে পর্যায়ে আসছে, সামনে হয়তো অনেক কিছু দেখার বাকি আছে যেটা হয়তো আমরা এখন চিন্তাও করতে পারছি না। তারপরেও যদি ইন রেট্রোস্পেক্ট যদি আমি আমার ক্যারিয়ার শুরু করেছি 1995-এ ব্রিটিশ আমেরিকান টোবাকোতে, তখন ওই কোম্পানিতেও মাত্র কয়েকটা পিসি আসলো, অ্যাকাউন্টেন্ট হিসাবে আমাদেরকে প্রথম এগুলো দেওয়া হলো। এরপরে কিন্তু আমি যে খুব কুইকলি বলবো, ডিজিটাল ওয়েবগুলো 3টা থেকে 4টা ওয়েব হয়ে গেল। একটা হলো ওই পিসিটা আসা ইটসেলফ। পিসি এর আগে কিন্তু ছিল মেইন ফ্রেম হিসাবে 60s 80s-এ ছিল, মিড 90s-এ গিয়ে এটা মাস হলো, নেক্সট 10 ইয়ার্সে এটা সুপার মাস লেভেলে চলে গেল। এখন তো এটা ছাড়া কোনো ঘরও নাই বাংলাদেশে। এরপরে পিসির সাথে যখন ইন্টারনেট যোগ হলো, এটা ছিল আরেকটা ওয়েব অফ ডিজিটাইজেশন। আর ইন্টারনেটটা যখন আবার মোবাইল হাতে চলে আসলো থ্রু স্মার্টফোন, এটা ছিল আরেকটা ওয়েব অফ ডিজিটাইজেশন। এটাতে এনি হোয়ার এনি টাইম এনি প্লেস এনশিওর হলো স্মার্টফোন উইথ ইন্টারনেট। এরপরে আমরা এখন আরেকটা ওয়েবে আছি যেখানে আর্টিফিশিয়াল ইন্টেলিজেন্স, আরপিএ, রোবোটিক প্রসেস অটোমেশন। এই পর্যায়ে এসে অ্যাকচুয়ালি যেটা হলো ম্যান অ্যান্ড মেশিনের কনভার্জেন্স হলো। আগের ওয়েবগুলোতে কি হতো, মেশিন মানুষের কাজকে ইজি করে দিত। যেমন একটা স্প্রেডশিট, আমি যখন জয়েন করছি আমি অল্প কয়েকদিনের জন্য বিএডিতে 14 কলাম শিট দেখেছি। আজকের যারা অডিয়েন্স অনেকে এটা হয়তো বুঝতে পারবেন না। 14 কলাম শিটে প্রথম কলাম থেকে শেষ কলাম পর্যন্ত যেতে যেতে ব্যালেন্স শিট হয়ে যেত, অল্প কয়েকদিনের জন্য দেখেছি, এরপরেই কিন্তু উঠে গেছে। তো 14 কলাম শিট থেকে শুরু করে এরপরে এক্সেল, এখন একটা এক্সেল যত বড় হোক আমি 2 সেকেন্ডে কপি করে এটাকে 10টা এক্সেলে বানাতে পারি, যেটা করতে তখনকার যুগে হয়তো 50 জন লোকের সময় লাগতো। তো সিমিলারলি এখন এটা ছিল মানুষের কাজকে ইজি করা আরেকটা ওয়েব। এখন আমরা যে ওয়েবে আছি এখানে ম্যান মেশিন কনভার্জেন্স, মানুষের কাজ মেশিন করে দিতে পারছে। যেমন আমি আমার অফিসের রাত 12টায় দেখা যাচ্ছে অনেকগুলো রিপোর্ট অটো জেনারেটেড হয়ে পেয়ে যায়, মেশিন আমার আর্টিফিশিয়াল ইন্টেলিজেন্স দিয়ে আমাদের ইআরপি রিপোর্টগুলো বানিয়ে যাকে যাকে ডিস্ট্রিবিউট করে দিচ্ছে, যেখানে নিউমারিক, গ্রাফিক্যাল, বহু ধরনের অ্যানালাইটিক্যাল অ্যাসপেক্টস থাকে, যেটা আগে মানুষকে করতে অনেক সময় লাগতো এবং রাত 12টা যখন আমি ঘুমিয়ে থাকি তখন সে রিপোর্টটা থ্রু করে। এই যে মানুষের কাজটা মেশিন নিয়ে যাচ্ছে, এটাও কিন্তু একটা চ্যালেঞ্জ। এই ওয়েবগুলোতে প্রত্যেক ওয়েবে যত না বেশি কাজ মেশিন নিয়ে গিয়েছে আর ডিজিটাইজেশন নিয়ে গিয়েছে, এর চেয়ে নতুন বেশি কাজ আবিষ্কার হয়েছে, এতে করে আমরা জিনিসটা টের পাই নাই। তো এখন প্রিডিকশন হলো 2022 নাগাদ এটা 50-50 হয়ে যাবে, 2025 নাগাদ যেটা হবে মেশিন উড টেক ওভার। অ্যাকচুয়ালি ডিভিশন অফ লেবারে আগে মানুষের মধ্যে মানুষের স্পেশালাইজড কাজ ভাগ হতো, 2025 এ প্রেডিকশন হলো যে হিসাবে আর্টিফিশিয়াল ইন্টেলিজেন্স অ্যান্ড আরপিএ অ্যান্ড আদার ফোর্থ ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়াল রেগুলেশন আইটেমগুলো কাজকে নিয়ে যাচ্ছে, তখন মানুষের কাজ, ফিজিক্যাল কাজ অনেক কমে যাবে, মেশিনের কাজ 55 হয়ে যাবে, মানুষের ফর এক্সাম্পল 45% হয়ে যাবে। দ্যাট রিফ্লেক্টস মানুষকে আরো অনেক বেশি স্মার্টার হতে হবে, অনেক বেশি বুদ্ধিসম্পন্ন হতে হবে, ক্রিয়েটিভ হতে হবে, যে কাজগুলো মানুষের জন্য বাকি থাকবে। সো এই যে একটা বিষয়, এটা মূলত এই ট্রান্সফরমেশনে একটা মূল বিষয় হলো অ্যাডাপ্টেশন। আমাদেরকে সবাইকে অ্যাডাপ্টিভ হতে হবে। আমরা যেমন ডারউইনিজমে জানি যে ওখানে বলেছে মোস্ট ইন্টেলিজেন্ট অর মোস্ট স্ট্রং স্পেসিসটা টিকে থাকবে না, থাকবে সেটা যেটা যত বেশি অ্যাডাপ্টিভ। তো আজকালকার যুগে এটা ইকুয়ালি আমাদের প্রফেশনেও অ্যাপ্লিকেবল, যে আমরা যত বেশি অ্যাডাপ্টিভ হতে পারবো উইথ দ্য চেঞ্জেস ইন ডিজিটাল টেকনোলজি, তত বেশি আমরা সাকসেস পাবো, তত বেশি আমরা টিকে থাকতে পারবো। তো আমি আজকে এই ডিজিটাল ট্রান্সফরমেশনে আমাদের সিএফও রোল অর ফাইন্যান্স ফাংশনের রোল, অনেক জব কিন্তু এভরিডে উই আর লুজিং এবং নতুন জব আসছে। সো আমি মনে করি এই কনটেক্সটটা একটা চ্যালেঞ্জিং এবং পার্মানেন্টলি একটা ভোলাটাইল সিচুয়েশন, এর মধ্যেই আমাকে উপায় বের করতে হবে কিভাবে আমি আগামী দিনে সাস্টেইন করব।
থ্যাংক ইউ কাসুর ভাই। জোয়াদ্দার ভাই কাছে আসছি। জোয়াদ্দার ভাই, আপনি তো স্ট্যান্ডার্ড চার্টার্ড আপনার বাংলাদেশের বাইরে গ্রুপে বিভিন্ন জায়গায় কাজ করেছেন। সো অ্যাজ আই হ্যাভ দ্য অপরচুনিটি টু ওয়ার্ক উইথ ইউ অ্যাজ ওয়েল, তো যেটা জানি যে সেটা হচ্ছে আপনি সিবি সিঙ্গাপুরে ফাইন্যান্স ট্রান্সফরমেশন নিয়ে প্রায় 5 বছর আগে কাজ করেছেন। So nowadays we also see that the digital transformation most of the top layer organization কিন্তু হচ্ছে। So actually যদি CFO রোলটা যদি স্পেসিফিক বলতে পারেন যে what is the role they are currently playing and coming days গুলোতে আসলে এই রোলটা ডিভাইডে আসলে কতটুকু ইনক্রিজ হবে এবং how the other CXO will depend on the CFO for each and every decision due to, in terms of digital transformation.
No, thank you, Yasir, and first of all, thank you for having me in this forum, on this meeting today. I think this is a brilliant topic, role of CFO in digital era. This is, as Kausar bhai has very nicely articulated the step-by-step transformation of the technology, journey of technology, and the position we are in right now as we speak. So it is pretty much a transition point where, as Kausar bhai said, that technology is going to take over the work that we do as of now. So I think, Yasir, if I share some of my experience, the change, I was in transformation program with Standard Chartered, but that was not really the digital transformation. We are talking about standardization, automation, very basic level, where, a machine helps human to do the work probably little faster. robots not necessarily, take over the job. So, but the era that we are in right now is actually we are seeing gradually that technology is taking over the job. ইনফ্যাক্ট আমি যদি একটু করে বলি আপনার অ্যানালজি নিয়ে আসি, মানে আমরা টিপিক্যালি, and Yasir, you do the similar kind of a job. What we do now is, I mean, my high level assessment is 80 to 90% of the work that we do as a CFO or the finance professionals are actually production type job. Okay. And then maybe, if we have time, then we do some analytics, try to understand the insight, the message from the numbers, and then help business, that 10% value add we do, or drive business or provide some of those insights so that business can make a better decision. So, it's like 80-20 or maybe 90-10 if I be a little aggressive. But what is going to happen? This production work is not going to exist. Kausar bhai talked about RPA, machine learning. These are just not the jargons. These are happening as we speak. Even I have experienced it. I can tell you, I have probably experienced it over the last couple of months in my current organization itself. So things are happening as we speak. There is no reason for us to remain in a mode of denial. It is happening. So 80% or 90% of the work that you do today, they will not exist. They will be taken over by machine. You don't have to even think about it. Like I know, when you talk to professionals, especially the freshers, they will talk about, international accounting standards, give you reference and all those things. You don't have to learn all these things. The system will be designed in such a way that you give them you just say that I have this problem. It knows which accounting standards defines how to account for that particular issue. It also processes the accounting entry accordingly, so you don't worry about some of those things. So what would matter then? As a CFO of this current era where transformation happening is so rapidly, what would matter is that our ability to understand the number, and the data which will be produced, we have produced manually, so the volume was probably is less, but system, when it is produced by system, there is so much of data available. So we should have the ability to read the number. I normally give an analogy that if you go and do a test from the best lab, what do you call laboratory. For example, I don't know, go to ICDDRB and get your all the tests done. It could be hundreds of dimensions of the test. So every doctor will read the test and then may potentially give you various type of, or diagnose various different type of disease, right? You have this problem and that problem, but then you don't probably trust any doctor. You probably go to the best one who has the ability to read the whole entire test output, test result, and then be able to pinpoint what is that one thing that has happened in your body which is causing all the red mark in the test result. So I think that ability is going to be the key in future. That how do you connect the dots? How do you connect so much numbers, and then find a theme out of it and understand where things are potentially needs attention or need to be addressed, so that the numbers can become better. So I think as a CFO or finance professional in this era, that is the ability we need to practice. It doesn't come, obviously you may have number in front of you and you may not be able to read through that so easily. So this needs practice. This needs debate, and so that you gradually become used to it. And I think as a first step, what we need to do is start spending more time on analyzing the number rather than producing it, because production will not exist. All right. So I think that's how I will kind of share some of my thoughts on the topic that you have today. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Joaddar bhai. Coming to Kausar bhai, on the thoughts from Joaddar or initial by you, is that so? What does it means for the coming CFOs? So is it that they must be tech savvy, or that is they should have a like a technology or a technical kind of background, or how you see the current people who work in finance arena, they can equip these types of skill set. So what is your view?
Thank you very much. Actually, in a sense, the one way or the other, everybody is tech savvy now because we can see there are people in Bangladesh. We have, I think, 12 to 14 crore mobile subscriber, but our literacy rate is not at that level. There are illiterate people who actually very smoothly operate their mobile phone. Sometimes they operate smartphone also. So people actually compelled to be tech savvy. Similarly, coming into our profession, actually, it is part of our life. This is way of our life that we have to be reading the machine language and utilize it. So if we see the ICT function of a corporate house like us, like Joaddar is in bank, I am in the other side in a corporate cement manufacturing. So we are in the two sides of the table. So in both cases, actually, we are dealing with ICT every day in, day out. Like in our case, if we segregate the ICT function, it is falling under primarily two parts. One is ICT infrastructure part of the organization, and another part is ICT application. Let's take we being finance professional, we have spent our long life on understanding finance technicalities. So if even if we don't have ICT infrastructure like soft infrastructure or hardware related infrastructure related knowledge, but it is mandatory or it is must that we have to gain adequate knowledge in terms of ICT application. Like in my organization, I have ERP called Oracle. Other organization have SAPs. So in terms of application part of the ICT, we have to be reasonably or decently oil conversant in terms of applying it. Being finance, actually, in the evolution part, ICT or ERP was mostly role of finance. But today, each part of the organization are having ERP. Let's take, for example, during this COVID period, initially, in my organization, we could work from home and still maintain all stakeholders' transaction almost real time, almost intact. Our sales collection through our ERP, our suppliers payment, our bank transaction collection, our employee salary payment, everything actually you could do through our in our company. We do hardly write any check. 100% are almost 100% are bank transfer. So no need to move the peon to the director house or signatory's house to write and sign check. So check writing, check signing, these has actually gone away largely in organization. Those are having ERP. So in finance, actually, we have to be. It is given that we have to be well conversant in terms of ICT application, and also for that matter now cross-functional. Every function, take it supply chain. As I see it, future finance organization or even today, it's like at the top it is the strategy where CFO actually do collaboration with board and also cross-functional. Then at the bottom we have in Oracle it is called uh, procurement to P2C, procurement to pay, order to cash. So this sort of given process, those are hard, mostly automated. Only people do the ritual job. Let's take in my organization, I don't know how the balance sheet or accounts are prepared in each month. Only I look for when it is coming out and when I would do analysis and make board pack for presentation. So at times, if you go back 10, 15 or 20 years back, at times making this financial statement on time was the key role of an accountant, and he was very much valued for this particular role playing. But today we don't do that. It might hear very ridiculous that down the line might be to do or to run an organization we might not require this sort of high laborious professional finance professional qualification, because as Joaddar was saying that this IAS, IFRS, everything is being taken care of mostly by the now our ERPs. So at times it would be so intelligent that actually it might not require that one qualified professional accountant would only run the finance function. I have seen Hindustan Unilever, they had their CFO who is an engineer come MBA, who was the group country CFO of Hindustan Unilever. So we have to be that much. This is hearing ridiculous, but I am placing it for the food for thought that we have to be that much open that future might be we have to be an engineer to run an organization finance function, not truly as FCMA or FCA or this. I am not undermining that this qualification would not be required. I am saying that by virtue the technology is evolving, it would be so many things today we are doing would be given. Only thing, emotional intelligence, social intelligence, human intelligence, those are actually required to make the super intelligent information, those can be of business use. And also CFO itself actually would be a value creating agent. Sometimes actually in many organizations and also in many literature we see that CEOs are getting afraid whether his CFO is or finance director is ready to cope up with the futuristic changes of the organization. So we have to be also be careful. Actually, our customers across inside and also outside, those whom we are selling our services. So in the coming digitization situation, we have to be also customer centric in for our service selling. So situation actually we might be placing some scary situation, but these are happening. Let's take in Bangladesh already blockchain transaction happened. Joaddar SCB already taken the transaction. HSBC also similar transaction. So this was at times 1 year back, even it was a discussion buzzword. So these are now reality. So many things can happen in future. So I see our role is very quickly evolving, and our so many job like audit part, the control part, so many things would be taken care of by system. So only human, those required super intelligence or intelligence from human, those would be remaining for us. Imagine under that circumstances, more and more people are coming into market. So we have to be actually really careful, not putting our luck on default. Actually, we have to be running or managing our career by design in coming days. Thank you. I am stopping here.
Thank you, Kausar. Just referring your point is that the blockchain technology that is based on a charter which is or many of the banks in recent days. Coming back to Joaddar bhai, you see in many of the articles by McKinsey or by Big Four firms, they on a gradual basis that mentioning that the artificial intelligence or machine learning or the big data. These are some cases seems jargon to many of the companies, and like more than 50% of the companies, they are actually they know about these terms, but they are not in a position to implement this organization. So as a CFO, how you can help to your colleagues in the technology and the project team, and how you can also guide the CEO that actually that to remove the bottlenecks and implement those in the coming days.
Yeah. So no, thank you. This is an interesting question, and as you have rightly said, in our country, I think most people would consider these like just another jargon, something is not happening, or they don't believe in But as I have mentioned at the beginning, it is whilst you are doubting about it, these are things are happening. Okay. So as Kausar bhai has alluded to blockchain, how many of us really understand how blockchain works? But this is actually transaction is happening, and in our own country. So things are happening and happening very, very fast. Now, you mentioned, especially you mentioned about the artificial intelligence, the uh, machine learning, and then the what do you call like big data. So I'll just cover some of these points. So what is really machine learning? I think easiest example, I think all of us have experienced it. We have a call center, like even for BRAC Bank or Standard Chartered, when you call the call center, you don't talk to human, you talk to a machine,
Yeah.
right? So machine they train the machine over a period, and then machine knows, for a particular question, what should be the answer. They have the stored answer for that, right? So, and how machine learning can really benefit the company. So just imagine that if you are a growing business, okay, to support your customer queries or complaints, you may have, I don't know, so a call center manned with 100 people, and then you are growing. Next year your customer base grows by 50%, and obviously that would mean that your customer query will also grow proportionately, potentially. If that happens, you have to add another 50% of the people, which is another 50 people. So, I mean, these are all non-revenue generating activity, right? So if you keep adding people, you are actually adding cost and putting pressure on your margin, on your profitability, and so on. So instead, if you can have a machine that can take care of these queries, your business grows, and you don't necessarily add people. All you need, keep refining the experience of the machine, or the training for the machine, and then at some point your 50 business will grow 50% or double or treble. You just, if at all, you probably need to add another machine, right? So your cost does not remain like variable. Your cost almost becomes fixed. So that is the value, that is how a machine can really bring value to our organization. And this is something we are all, many of us are experiencing in this country. Big data, another perfect example. Analogy is what, I just probably mentioned this on one of the forum, that in earlier days, if you go back 20 year, 30 year, you will know that a terrorist is hiding in a city, or in a village or something, and they just blow the entire city, right? Bomb the entire city, and the city is gone, terrorist dies, and of course there are hundreds, thousands other people dies. Now what? They're using drone. They're identifying exact location of the exact room of that person, and you precisely hit that that particular room, and then attack the terrorist. So equally, we have data, right? So there's so much data we produce. We all work for a bank, and we have so much of data produced by our customers, produced internally by us. If you know how to use the data, you actually can use that data to significantly increase the or increase the effectiveness of the customer interaction, and probably increase the sales volume. For example, Yasir every year travels, right? Every year you travel during summer holiday, because your kids school are they go on holiday that time, right? So 1 month or 2 month, whatever. So that is the time you go for a long holiday. Now history says your credit card record shows, or your bank statement shows, which is available with the bank, right? Shows that Yasir every year he starts booking for, use his credit card, book hotel, buy air ticket using his credit card, right? So, and that happens sometime in February, because he will go on a holiday in June, so he does that in February. So using the historical, so 2-3 years pattern, a bank can use the data to see, okay, fine. So when to approach, if Yasir Arafin, for a personal loan, or something to do, you call it travel loan or personal loan, whatever. The Yasir Shahab, in the month of February, a bank salesperson calls you, sir, we have an offer for you. This is the offer. I mean, maybe, I don't know, typical rate, 10%, they offer you 9.75%. And time when you are actually thinking to book air ticket or book the hotel. So if they call you at that point, you will be surprised, pleasantly surprised. Oh, right time. So you may just get into a conversation and then do it. Just imagine you just returned from holiday in the month of July, and somebody calls you, and you are busy doing something. You will be upset with the guy. This guy doesn't know when to call clients, right? So imagine how big data really can help to even find out when to approach a client for what. Okay, so and then there are so many other examples I can quote here to see how a big data really can bring value to an organization for the client. I'm sure in these days you know that you'll get SMS sometimes, okay, for things that you probably looking for. How do they know it? They somehow know it. You probably have clicked a place, a website, and that website talks about particular thing, and then suddenly you will start receiving notification that there is an offer for the product that you're looking for. How this happen? There is a there are engine or AI, there are machines working behind for a company, and they know that Mr. Yasir is looking for something like this. Let's help him by providing the push notification or something. So you see, whilst we are doubting or debating, there are so much happening already, and but we don't realize that this is happening. So to me, the way I see it, these are all happening and is going to happen very, very fast. So I think best for us to do is to embrace it, start learning it, start thinking about it, and then make ourselves ready for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joaddar bhai. Actually, I think many of the companies they are following these approaches, mainly the big data, analyzing these things, and the demand for data analytics we see, and many of the companies, I think in both of your companies, including myself, I found that these are increasing day by day. So coming back to Kausar Alum bhai. So you see, previously the CFO, which was 20, 30 years back, is known as the chief accountant or accountant. Now they're CFO, the finance professional. My question is that actually how you see that your time allocation between the controlling function and the partnering and the strategy function now, and which was 10 years back, and what you forecast after 10 years? What will be the chances
Yeah,
of this?
thank you. This is also very pertinent question actually, since digitization is happening every day across the organization, and also across at the macro level, as we can see now cross-border transactions are happening with digitization, and also in our country also over the last 10 years, so many local organization at times actually expensive ERP like SAP, Oracle was the call for the multinational companies. Then it is for bank for better governance. Now we can see large uh, corporate houses also have invest significantly, at least 1 million, 2 million, $3 million equivalent taka for their having ERP. Why actually? This is actually because everybody has grown. So to manage the scale, let's take an organization of 100 crore turnover, 500 or 1000. We have 1000 or 5000 crore, or even in USD $2-3 billion company having in operating in Bangladesh. So this with huge diversity of businesses itself, and also with huge diversity of product services. So within these actually to manage the scale and also scope, they had to go for ERP. That means now they are operating. I am not saying that this journey was very smooth. I understand so many organizations actually have implemented ERP first time, second time, then third time they got successful. Why? Because their organization was not ready in terms of using ERP in that scale, because this has to come from the top mind of the organization. So it is not, sometimes it was given to CFO or finance head to implement it, run it. So that was a different story. I would not take time over there. But reality is now so many organizations are having ERP in their organization, operating every day in, day out to manage each and every stakeholders, uh, external, internal stakeholders. So in this context, this is the context actually. In this context actually, as the CFO, we can see that so many controlling thing or auditing thing are being taken care of by the ERP. Let's take for an example. Now we can, yeah, for example, for approval of any financial or non-financial things. Earlier it has to be approval metrics, so many manual job. Now it is coming automated and link wise one after another. It is getting audited and approved. So that part actually taken care of by the system. So in terms of for that example, from I can conclude that actually in terms of controlling, our role has significantly reduced. So where we are spending, if I take my case, let's take, I spend 50 to 60% of my time in collaborating with my other functional colleagues, like supply chain, production, like our marketing, like sometimes HR admin, and of course we are there in finance. In my organization, ICT department is reporting to me. So I also need to collaborate with them to give service. Every month we sit, what else we can do automate, what else we can do easily, so that our business partners in other department can feel the difference. And also our stakeholders, like let's take our customer, our dealer distributor, they, for any transaction they get so many communication, like for cement loading, cement delivering, they get so many SMS. It's like the way we charge our credit card, we get SMS, get confirmed, get confidence. Similarly, we have also account with them. They can see how much they need to deposit to take delivery of cement today. So these sort of services across all stakeholders are part of life. So in fact, from finance, I would say that at this point, 50-60% of my time are going with other stakeholders. As I told earlier, reporting, recording, actually those are kind of a given. So, and also controlling, that also for most many parties automated. So that I would say, if I rank it like 60-20-20, 60% is cross-functional and coordination with board and other partners, and to make business happen, to make value are created. Actually, traditional role of finance, like making the statements, and also recording, reporting, those actually are now forgotten by a CFO. So our role is to create value where we can actually maximize in terms of sales happening, in terms of cost reduction, in terms of smooth value chain are in operation. In our company, we have almost entire value chain from Hong Kong to our parent company Hong Kong to supplying to any customer, any remote place in Bangladesh. We have 11 separate legal entity to take care of this. And our target, my target is to make all these 11 component profitable. Only one component is bleeding. That is also by design, because to get sales, we actually deliberately make that bleed. So these are the area we need to look at, not conventionally. And also we collaborate with our other department partner, like helping them in terms of not previously hostile situation with finance versus other department. Finance is coming, is controlling. Actually, today's day is also different. We got to change our mind also, in terms of we have to see as a value seen, to be seen as a value creating agent rather than a hostile or controlling agent or show stopper. Rather, we are value creator, value maker, not only value reporter. Reporting also happening automated. So our role has significantly evolved. So this has to be in our mind, that we are actually kind of a sometimes co-pilot. We are helping the CEO to achieve the annual KPIs, annual result. So we cannot be conventionally or traditionally seen like they are the auditor, they are the showstopper. So this is how I can see the 60-20-20. 60% of the time is for business, and 20 for control, and rest 20 for other thing you are saying, reporting or something. So this is how most of the time is for business. Everybody is now business. Every manager is business manager.
Thank you, Kausar bhai. So for you, the partnering is 60-20-20. Joaddar bhai, same to you. What will be your ratio in a very nutshell? Because I am coming with another question.
Yeah, no, I think I would agree with Kausar bhai, as he has rightly pointed out. For me, I think knowing the business, I mean, there was a time I know people typically, I remember when I joined a bank, of course, my current bank long back, someone just called me, oh, you're a bin counter. And I know that that guy, he has realized the biggest mistake he probably made in life by calling me a bin counter. So, we became friend, of course. I gave him my piece of my mind at that point. That, sorry, what is that actually? So things have changed, right? For now, yeah, it used to be like accountant. I mean, we just bookkeeper type. There is, and unfortunately, there are many of even us, meaning our professionals, they would still say our job is to do the bookkeeping and stuff like that. So we don't do that anymore, right? Kausar bhai has very rightly pointed out. We don't do those accounting. It's done by ERP system takes care of this. We don't need, how many times we utter debit and credit in our life now? Hardly.
Yeah.
We don't talk about those things,
No, no.
right? So I think life has changed. For me, the way I see it, we need to understand the business in and outs, because we are no longer a backbencher. We are a front runner. If CEO is the first person running, we are pretty much beside him, not even behind him. So that means you need to understand the business ins and outs. And business is a commercial entity, right? It's all about making money and maximizing value for the shareholder. And of course, without ignoring the social side of it, but I'm saying ultimate objective is to maximize value for the shareholder. So we are in a perfect position, because if you understand the business and how business ultimately generates number or the profit or the business, dollar, then you are probably the only person in the company who knows end to end. Nobody else does.
Yeah.
So much a good CFO can do in bringing value to the organization. So I think, coming back to the percentage you mentioned, Yasir, I think, for me it will be like, I'm talking about the future state. We still waste a lot of time on production. Future state would be like 90%, 90% talking about understanding business, collaborating with various stakeholders, internal, external, and then probably 10% of the time on various other things like, team, like still bit of a production. Maybe you'll do few PPT, PowerPoint slides, and all those things. But
Yeah.
to me, it's all about. It is going to be mainly about the collaborating with business, understanding the what is happening in the marketplace, and then steer the business in the right direction, and because you are literally the co-pilot. Thank you.
Absolutely, Joaddar. Just have a question which is very much similar. Like you mentioned that the collaboration, but to whom we should collaborate? Definitely the people, and those who are in the service industry or even the manufacturing industry where Kausar I currently have. Most important part is the people, and if we see in the P&L, the cost side, I think most of the time the people cost is in the higher, basically in our service industry who are working in banks, I think. So my supplementary question is that to drive people, collaborate people, and also to optimize the people cost, how CFOs can partnering with the CEO and the head of HR. So I think how should, so question to the
Yeah, so I will probably answer this question in relation to the topic today.
yeah.
I mean, of course you can manage people better usually what you do, but given the subject for today is about uh, role of CFO in digital era, so I'll probably take it in light of that. So of course, people, I mean, you cannot ignore the people. Whilst we are saying that people, technology will take over the job of the people who what we are doing today, but it doesn't mean that people will not be there. Of course, people will be there, but the need for you know adding people, like the example that I gave about the call center, need for adding people with the business growth probably will start coming down. So instead, you will probably have people who can use the systems, meaning the all the technology or tool that you're going to use going forward. People should be able to utilize some of those things or make best use of it. Use the data that comes out of as a result of that using the technology, and connect the dots and make sure we develop the themes or derive the themes, and then you know drive business towards prosperity. So people will always be there. So we probably have to. Now the question is, how do we go from where we are today and then to the future states? Of course, that will mean that we need to reskill, we need to upskill the existing resource that we have, so that they are they gradually gain the knowledge, which will be very, very important when things will be all automated, digitized, so that we can still have the people that we need. So because in the future state you're gonna still have the people, but you will only have the people that you really need. They can bring or add value in the process. So I think upskilling, reskilling is what is needed, so that people understands the technology, people understands the and appreciate the future state and embrace the technology going forward. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank Joaddar to reply this nice question. So question to Kausar is that you see the value creation, what you mentioned earlier, the value creation to actually being with the strategy beside the CEO and always be in top of the strategy. So what should be the safest role in modern era?
CFO's role in terms of strategy, actually, as Joaddar was shedding light in his discussion. Actually, CFO in an organization, actually, CFO, that particular seat is actually very much cornerstone. It's like they can, or he or she can see what is happening across the organization, all function. In my organization, in my position also, so many things actually sometimes the number one doesn't know, I know, or other way of saying it, sometimes CFO knows little bit better than anybody else in the organization. So why I am claiming this, actually CFO's role is the role who can actually see in the rear view glass, and also who can see if he or she has the better insight or required business insight, intelligence, and operational insight. He or she can actually see better than anybody else who is in the operation. Might be he's not doing his in own hand the operational job. I also expect, or as I see it, actually, the any person, not only CFO himself, any person, even in a early career starter in finance, or for that matter, any other support or service department in an organization, should have equal or more understanding about the operations of the organization. So having said that, CFO role actually is very much equipped to actually guide the organization about the strategy. In an organization, if really organization want to drive strategic planning and achieve it, where they want to be in next 5 years or next 10 years, actually CFO should be the lead person, sponsored by board. Board would be the sponsor, and CFO actually would be leading the entire strategic planning process, taking all his or her colleagues in other functions, so that everybody can have shared vision, and also they can have the shared goal, mission, vision, objectives, and also CFO can help in terms of allocating resources to all functions in terms of achieving the result of the organization. And also, of course, there has to be continuous measurement, follow through in terms of achieving the small milestone, and ultimately the vision of the organization. And this is a very natural phenomena that CFO plays the key role in terms of writing the strategy of the organization, and also in terms of maneuvering and driving the strategy organization, and achieving the strategy and reaching to the ultimate goal. So this is actually CFO's one of the significant role, and this was at times a little hazy, that some organization used to keep separate function as a strategy. Actually, that is something superimposition. Might be in many cases that is not successful, because the way CFO can see from rear and front view glass, the other person coming from different function might not be equally equipped to drive the strategy. That's my take about the strategic planning.
Thank you, Kausar. I think two important takeaway from this discussion. One from Joaddar, that is that the CFO is the only person who is into it, and the second from Kausar is that you see from the sponsor, that is from the board, the CFO is the main person who is the driver of the strategy. So I think that is for the audience. So I think the question that we should not avoid or could not avoid is the COVID-19. Though some of us are vaccinated, but COVID is still around us. and the last 2020, I think I also feel the heat. That definitely our two distinguished guests, that they have a very busy year 2022. So please, first to Joaddar bhai, give some experience that you face in 2022, and I'll definitely come back to Kausar bhai.
Yes, thank you. I mean, I think as you have rightly said, it was an unprecedented time, an experience for all of us, not only in Bangladesh. I think it's globally. Uh, but I think again, I'll try and relate the experience to the topic for the day. It is a unique experience for all of us. Something probably we have never thought of, or never believed that is possible. But actually, it all happened during 2020. And in fact, as we speak, it is happening. Like this very meeting, the conversation. We are having using a tool. This meeting would have happened like a face to face, right? But we are
Yeah.
having this through a virtual platform. So that is the proof that something that we haven't done, we didn't think about, is happening. Probably COVID has pushed that significantly, or helped us started believing in it. So there are a lot of such thing has happened, like working from home. I mean, we'll be furious if somebody tells us, "No, boss, I'll not come. I'll take 1 week. I'll stay at home and work from home." Maybe we'll be very upset with the guy. What you don't take the job seriously, and all those comments we'll make. But then all of us have worked from home, and guess what? We are
And
surprised with the
back of the
productivity
mind,
quality.
we thought. Yeah, back of the mind, we thought I'll take you in the performance appraisal year end.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, some of the things that we believed that not possible was possible. During as because of COVID. So I think in Bangladesh, I would say COVID has the pace at which the technology transformation was happening in country, in Bangladesh and globally. I think we can speak for Bangladesh more because we are behind in the curve. I think COVID has showed us the path, or showed us, or gave us a lot of arms and ammunition for us to think that it is possible, and it is possible very, very fast. I know even the policymakers are also kind of on board. They are looking at various things to make it simplified, so that digitization, automation, this thing can happen even faster than before. you know there are a lot of things will happen as a consequence. For example, like I said, the working from home, it is going to be, we are not going, post COVID, you all inshallah getting vaccinated. It doesn't mean that we'll all, after everyone gets vaccinated, will go back to the office. I don't think any organization will think that 100% of their employee will come back to the office and go back to pre-COVID level. No, many organizations are going to think differently. They will think that, okay, fine, so why don't we allow 30-40% of my staff at any point in time work from home? So what will happen as a consequence? There will be less demand potentially for the commercial premises,
Office
right?
space. Yeah.
Office spaces. So for example, so now let's talk about the role of the CFO. If you are a good CFO, you understand the business, you understand the market dynamics, and you are a CFO for a company who deals with, or constructs commercial real estate building, you have to think very carefully that whether you want to launch another project. So you have to think that, no, boss, let me evaluate the dynamics in the market, how things are going to transfer over next year or two, and then we decide whether there will be enough demand for my commercial real estate, and only then you start. Otherwise, you move away from that, right? Similarly, like, the people, the I work for a bank, so obviously in the banking space there are a lot happen. Kausar bhai has alluded to that. I think none of us probably visit branches for a transaction. I think
Yeah.
all of us, I'm sure I can probably very confidently say, probably none of us actually visited branch probably last 1 year.
Yeah.
So online banking, phone, call, like over phone, call center, or even mobile financial services, they are taking over the making the banking experiences so comfortable now. So things are going to change, right? People probably will not go to the branches much. So as a CFO for a bank, would you promote that you open another branch or increase the size of a branch? Probably no. You will have to think that whether that branch will exist 5 years down the line, because the way we said that our literacy rate, our mobile users probably higher than the literacy rate. So it tells a lot about how quickly people can use the technology, the smartphone, and that would mean that they don't necessarily have to go and do banking by visiting a branch. They can do it from wherever they are, and that's the work that banks are doing to make sure banking is delivered to the comfort of your home. So if that is what is happening in the technology space, there is no point for us to keep our mind or ears or eyes closed and then start build another branch or increase the size of the branch or launch another ATM machine, for example, because all those things probably will go in a Jurassic Park very soon. You will probably not have the you'll probably not have the what do you call this thing, uh, the card that you have, the credit card, debit card. It will be all in your mobile phone. So it will be cardless kind of a thing, right? So I think things are transforming. I know in other part of the world people have bank, they call it digital bank. They don't have any physical presence. 100% digital bank. So it is happening. So why do we? There is no reason for us to believe it will not happen in Bangladesh. And I think for us, uh, and we have seen it as an experience of COVID. So I do therefore believe that a lot has happened, more will happen, and but it would also happen at a very very fast pace. And therefore, as a CFO, we should be able to we should evaluate the future, and for that all you need to do is make sure you talk to people. There are people in various fields working and trying to solve our problem, right? There's so many startup companies out there in Bangladesh, many of them working with many solving small problem, making life easier. So I think we need to keep our eyes and ears and these things open to make sure to understand what is happening in this space, in the automation digitization space. Make sure we develop our own strategy, keeping in mind of the development in this space. And instead of launching a project of your own, you get into a partnership with some of these external organization that they already have a solution, right? So I think we have to be smart. We don't have to be IT specialists to be able to become a very good or digital era CFO. All you have to do is to understand what is happening in this space, understand that how to collaborate with people internally and externally, people who are working with various technology solution, and make sure we get into a right kind of a partnership, and therefore take the benefit of the development in the technology space. At the same time, probably not investing too much, so that it puts pressure on the profitability of the company. So I think there are I would recommend that all, as a finance professional, not only for the CFO, as a finance professional, we kind of be open, look around, and then embrace engage with the partners, engage with the or embrace the technological change that is happening, and then develop your strategy accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Joaddar bhai. Kausar bhai, same question. The COVID experience and future outlook in very short, brief. Please.
Actually, I will be very brief. Joaddar has very nicely covered the COVID experience. Actually, this is same as I explained that we could sustain or continue our business almost as usual since we are in ERP like many other organizations. But one take like COVID, there is a concept called do more with less. So in COVID, actually, there is also a similar learning like working from home. This is less use of transport, restaurant, office space, office utilities, and also less supervision time by boss or seniors. And also yet it is all across almost similar feedback that yet productivity has increased. Working from home, at times people used to thought that at home might be they would be sleeping or doing other thing than office job. But everybody is in a chorus. Actually, they are recognizing that working from home is much more productive than working at office. And I also personally agree. Initially, 5 months I was working from home, and productivity level was much higher because no gossip, no discussion, and also everything always everything on mobile or on computer. So that is one of the take from the COVID, that it has actually shown also positive aspects with so many less thing. Only thing is internet usage got increased. The other all aspects are less but doing more. So also in Bangladesh, like Joaddar was saying, so many e-related like e-commerce, e-shopping, so many things has evolved or better shaped within this particular time. So that actually in a sense mix, and also of course this is a learning for us in a sensory time happened in the world.
Thank you, Kausar. Just to add one thing is that I also found in last 1.5 years almost, is mainly 1 years, that the meeting time, you see, when I'm inviting someone in June, people are readily available on time. But when there is a physical meeting, the people are coming from different stairs and different floors, and it 5-10 minutes is the lead time. So in every meeting, if you see that the savings we had for 10-15 the senior people, so that is the savings of the company as well. Okay,
Absolutely.
so we are very later part of the discussion, but this program, this initiative, the VNetworks is mainly for the young professionals who are very new to their career or just qualified their professional accountancy, mainly the CMA professionals, and considering their requirement as well. The question is to both of you, firstly to Joaddar, is that actually what do you think? What skills the demand we have to the freshers who recently qualified, from any organization perspective, or you can add from your perspective.
Yeah, I think, as I said at the beginning, that life for the finance professional is going to change, right? The we're gonna use more of our analytical mind part of the brain and less of the production side of it. So I know that the education system in the country, even now, I mean, I'm talking about the college, university, and even, for that matter, the professional education, be it chartered accountancy or the the cost and management accountancy. It is still the same. We don't force people to think more about a particular topic. We just try to memorize things. So, and believe me, you don't have to memorize anymore, right? Because there was a time when you needed to memorize, because you may not, when you are getting into a meeting, you don't necessarily carry all the books, right? But now you don't have to carry books. All you need to do is just Google it and you have the answer. So you don't need books. That means you don't need to memorize anymore. That's the way I see it. So that means you need to understand. So understanding a particular topic, what, everything that we study, they have value, they have use case in our practical life. It's just that who does well, person who understands and study. So of course there are many. I'm not sure if we have people who are partly qualified, but I would recommend, and also people who have qualified. I would suggest that we sit back and then think why we are doing something. What is the use of it? How an information that I'm producing are being used in decision making process. So I think if you know that use case of everything that we read, everything that we do or produce, then believe me, you can then bring a lot of value for the organization. You will know that, okay, fine, so this is used for this decision making. When I know something which is not necessarily coming out of the number, maybe I can just add a comment. So you can then, that additional comment is the value that you add. So I think my suggestion would be to, you know understand the use of things that we do, understand the business, like I said, end to end, and that is very important. I know people will say that's not your area, but I think there is no boundary. There will be no boundary. So, and only way to succeed or remain relevant is to understand the business end to end, understand the market, understand what is happening in the marketplace, wider marketplace, in the technology space, and so on, and then connect the dots. So there are so much you may know, you may understand, right? You'll understand the market, you understand your business, you understand the development in the technology, development in the regulatory space. So much information you will have in your head, and you have to train your brain to be able to connect the all the information, and then make the right kind of a decision, or recommend for a right kind of a decision for the corporate. So I think training ourselves on some of these skills would be very, very important, because like I said, the work that you are, you know, doing now or plan to do, many of us, production, they will not exist. So if if you keep training yourself for the production, believe me, you will not have the role to play. So in order for for us to remain relevant and make sure we remain valuable to any organization, let's train ourselves on those understanding side of it, of the business, of the market, of the regulation, of the, you know, of the numbers as well, and then able to connect the dots for all these things. Thank you.
Thank you. To Kausar, same question.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, this is quite interesting. Uh, Actually, in the initial part of my discussion, I have created certain panic in terms of saying that so many things are being taken away by machine. Actually, that is not kind of a deliberate. That is reality, as we have discussed over last 1 year. And I also believe that human natural phenomena or psychology is growth. Everybody want to grow every year. If not even little inflation adjustment or even pay growth are there, our motivation remain low. So with all these machine is taking away our roles, still you human would like to grow. Then question is, under these circumstances, how? So this is a great question actually. So this is depends on our individual mindset. We have to be entrepreneurial mindset. Even if we do job, entrepreneur every day in day out, they actually explore their business, how they can earn top line and bottom line. Being in employment or professional accountant in service, we also have to be equally enterprising. Like every day we have to think what value I can add to the organization. Not only organization, also what value I can add to my knowledge base, my career. So it is a question of lifelong learning. So at times it was like we used to close our book, our after passing the final exam of our required qualification. But that is not the case. Even if somebody is not professional accountant, he or she has to take actually lifelong study to remain relevant, to remain updated. So we sometimes think that I am a qualified accountant, I am at the early stage of career, so I am entitled to get so many things. So this is a mindset again. So entitlement mindset has to be actually completely taken away. We are not entitled to anything actually. In developed world, they don't even see the certificate, what is the qualification. I don't know, in Bangladesh also now organization, even if it is not government organization, see the certificate. By seeing our CV, they trust and they recruit us, and we do work for 5, 10, 20 years in the organization. So this is all about what we deliver to the organization. So my actually advice to the career entrant or early career start, actually the life shaping part of a person career is the initial 3, 5, 7 years. Actually at that point of time we learn a lot, and somebody would, I would rank him fortunate if at that point of time at the early career somebody get a very good boss, then he can actually learn that. Actually even for me, I am serving more than 25 years of my career. For so many decision or conclusion, I refer to my old days, mid 90s, how I used to act, react under that circumstances, because that actually the real learning. So for the young professional, actually, I would urge and request that don't actually run after little 5,000 or 10,000 extra salary and switch to another job. Rather, invest yourself in learning in the initial stage, you will get return of this in a multiple way in later part of the career. So this is one of the part. And of course, the learning habit, it's not easy. And also, as we were saying time and again, that our conventional job would be taken over by machine. That means non-conventional, that means critical thinking or thinking job, creative job would pay us. That's not easy. You cannot change your habit of critical thinking or soft skill applying over 1 year, 2 years. Sometimes it takes 5, 10, 12 years to actually be a really philosopher, really thinker. It is not easy. We can see that so many good students who have very good CGPA, good result, qualified in one go, but didn't do equally good in the professional life, because it is the mindset, it is the different in thinking. So I would urge that it's also a habit. Today you are passionate, or we are passionate actually all together, that anything, everything we want to learn, we can browse in a moment. Actually, this is my habit. Whenever in a meeting also somebody cite any example, I then and then I browse it and confirm it whether it is real or not. And also out of curiosity, I write down so many topics that in my leisure time I will browse on this. Even if we are not doctor or engineer, sometimes for health reason we can browse in that sector also and can get so many information easily. But 20, 30 years back, for a single line of knowledge, we used to go to the public libraries, go to the district libraries. Those are the source of knowledge. So we are in a fortunate era, as I started in the beginning, that might be so many other things in digital transformation would be happening in next 10, 20, 30 years. But the time we are seeing, we have seen the non-digital age to the digital transformed age till today. So our career, of course, human psychological need, we have to grow. We want to grow ourselves also. We are, there is constraint, there is challenges, there is digital breakthrough. So we have to work in a very different way, differently. Same way working would not be giving us the different result. So I would say the formative stage, or those who are at the final stage of their professional exams and rights, please take attention on this soft skill development. Of course, digitization is our way of life, part of life. So that has to be also even greater way needed for you. Let's take for us, we have first almost 3/4 or even more part of our career. So new generation, actually they would be in a different workplace situation. So for them, thinking laterally might not be the useful, might not be the same thing happening as we see today. So that's my advice, though it is not always nice to give advice, because people doesn't like to have advices. So I took the prerogative of my more than 25 years working experience in different organization to put it here. Thank you. Yasir.
Thank you. This is the last and the very lighter question before we moving to the Q&A session. Is that Joaddar bhai, you are a CFO and with a one professional degree, that is FCA. Kausar, you also CFO, but in the board is the lots of degree. Okay, so from young professional perspective, people sometimes confuse whether I need one degree or multiple degree to become CFO. So what is your comment or thoughts?
Very difficult question. Joaddar, you can. Joaddar, you are unmute. You have to unmute it.
Okay, no. Yeah, it is a difficult one. But this one I'll give my personal view, and of course my elder brother Kausar bhai will share his view.
Sure.
I personally think that degree may not necessarily, additional degree may not necessarily give lot of additional value unless it is needed for your career, and that is the way I have seen all the time. And of course, I mean, I feel that I have done chartered accountancy. That's it. I mean, as an accountant, probably this degree is good enough. Because the way I see a degree is that if you are in a job market, it helps you enter the door, right?
True.
If it helps you enter the door, and that's it. After that, nobody cares about whether you are a chartered accountant, cost accountant, MBA, CFA, blah, blah, blah. All matters what actually you deliver. Whether you deliver the quality and that brings value for the corporate. That is the only thing that matters. And of course, it also matters probably at some point. If you don't have a professional degree, then there are organizations who will not take you as the CFO. But of course, there are exceptions, and there are many exceptions that if you're really good, degree doesn't really matter. So to me, I would rather, if you once you have one degree, because I do personally believe that, if you are to grow your career within the finance world, then you should have a professional degree. I think that is needed. Anything via CMA or CA doesn't matter. At least one professional degree for me is good enough, and then we should focus on the things that really matters. Like I said, after you enter the door of an organization, there is a different ball game. It doesn't. They will not ask you every morning, boss. Oh, okay, Yasir Arafin, you are a FCMA, so I'll respect you. No, they will respect you only if you deliver, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is my take on one versus multiple degree. Thank you.
Actually, thank you very much. I have actually partially answered my question, this particular question. So again, I think this requires certain my personal viewpoint. Actually, yes, I agree with Joaddar that even I just told that even good organization doesn't ask for actually what are the certificate you have. So show all the certificate. Actually, seeing CB, then all everything depends on my delivery about in the organization. In my case, actually, beyond these four, actually, I have two more post-graduation degree, masters in accounting. Actually, Joaddar and me from the same department, accounting department from Dhaka University.
I'm
Then
also
oh,
from
you
this
are also
department.
with me actually. Sorry, with three. Yes, sorry. Then also I have done my MBA from IBA. Actually, in case of me, I have actually like to explain it or put it like this. I had a mind to have, which now today called lifelong learning. So I used to study all these actually after doing my masters. Actually, I entered into job in British American Tobacco. Then I was left with one course in CMA. Then I qualified that in just next exam. So actually, after doing my masters and CMA, I entered into job. Then I had the neck to have study. Then I thought, since I am studying, why not have certification that actually fulfill the knowledge length and breadth, because sometimes reading books doesn't take us to the deepest extent. So that's actually made me to pursue certification. So I have actually, that is how one after another as part of job, and also my situation actually helped me sometimes. At times my wife was, she is teacher in economics department, Dhaka University. So she was abroad for 5 years to do. I was also with her for 2 years almost. So for doing her MS PhD, then I came back and I thought, okay, let me enroll in other courses. Then I enrolled in SCA was previously enrolled, and also MBA. Then later I have done the SCA from ICAB. So actually these are the story in my personal circumstances. But one thing is, again, there is a saying called no labor goes in vain. Actually, in my organization at this point of time, I have colleagues in Hong Kong, in Singapore, and also in Dubai. So we are sharing so many qualification. Like there are people who are ICAWCA. I have my GM in Singapore. He's FCCA. So that give me some edge, and also I am coordinating the group finance. So give me the edge that if I think this is my philosophy, and also they are also sometimes pretending like if I would have been only say a CMA from Bangladesh, they would have somewhat or the other undermined me. Now I get my colleague there. We are sharing similar qualification from the same institute. So I feel some sort of superiority. So this is a very indirect take in a positive note that I got benefited. Of course, it has helped. Like the chartered secretary, it is a legal expertise degree. FCCS, SCCA is a different sort of case study based degree. I have enjoyed. Yasir also sharing the same qualification with me. Actually, at times I stopped taking degree because my space got limited in the cart. So very funny way of saying it. So to conclude, actually, yes, one professional degree is required to place you in a qualified job entry route and grow to the ladder to the finance director or CFO or even CEO level. At least one is required. But if you have courage, time, actually these are not easy. This professional qualification, even for me also, I had to uh, give huge labor in achieving each of those degrees. Now I actually 3 or 4 years back I stopped my education. So I was a student till my age of 48. So it was a lifelong study. So might be I'm not advising that everybody should do this, but of course we all have to keep on learning. If not in a formal manner, even if it is informal manner, we have to uh, keep our learning habit live until our professional life is active. Thank you very much, Yasir. Taking longer time, I
Thank you.
have tried to answer.
No worries, Kausar bhai. So before moving to the questions answer session, so I'm just sharing a small story, and I think Joaddar bhai will elaborate. Is that the Joaddar bhai worked in UAE, in Singapore, in Bangladesh, and definitely he was also my line manager for 2 years almost. Uh, but for the people, I think those who are very early in the career, to whom is that actually the starting is not the important point. Actually, where you belongs or where is the ending, that is because Jodhaway started his school and college. Actually, not in school and college. He is actually graduated first from madrasa. But you see now he is the CFO of Standard Chartered Bank. So Jodhaway, if you please elaborate your small story.
Yeah, so no, this is a story. I think, one day I decided to write a book, Arafin. I don't know when I'll do that, but I'll definitely write. This can
Do
be
right it, yeah.
very, very, yeah, I have a plan. This could be very, very inspiring for many. Okay, so yeah, so as Yasir has said, I studied in madrasa. I actually have done my, dakhil, which is equivalent to SSC
Yeah.
from madrasa in my village. I done my then I decided to leave madrasa and join a college in my village itself. And then I was the first person got the first division in commerce faculty in the history of that college. So then university, Dhaka University. Then I joined Raman Haq, done my chartered accountancy. So yeah, I mean it was an interesting experience for me. It's a quite a uh, challenging but at the same time rewarding, I would say. And I think I do have fun with people that whenever I see people have got so many degrees, I said, boss, you guys have to. I cannot accommodate you here. I have to send you to Mars or Moon or something because this is so many degrees. And but yeah, I mean, I think. Uh, but I have to say one thing, and wanted to add that, and good that Yasir has given me that opportunity. I actually wanted to do one more degree, which is the ICWA qualification for chartered accountancy. And there is a pathway program which is offered, or there's a understanding MOU between Bangladesh ICAB and the ICWA, and you just have to write a kind of a paper, something like that. So one day I decided to do it and realized that I only have 4 days left to submit the paper. So 4 days I prepared and I failed. I probably failed in two questions. There were 5 or 7 questions. I passed those 4 or 5 because this degree I thought may bring value, as Kausar bhai has very rightly pointed out. It does help, especially when you are interacting with the people in other country, because Bangladeshi degree not necessarily recognized by the external world equally. So if you have a degree which is offered by the international organizations like ACCA, CIMA, or chartered accountancy, then absolutely it does bring some quite a bit of value. So I think that's the only degree I'm still probably I still believe that maybe I'll, since I have 2 more questions to answer, so maybe I'll do that at some point and secure the degree. So yeah, it
Okay,
it is
so
it was interesting.
thank you, Jodhaway. So, uh, uh, Same thing. I think what Kausar mentioned is that the learning, the endless learning, is the success story for any successful people that we have today, or we also had in our earlier session, and keep continuing as long as you're not reaching your destination. So that's the story. So we are getting a number of questions. The first question is from Mr. Monor Hussain, is the finance controller of SCB and my earlier boss, and I learned a lot of things from him. The question is, and he's also working with Mr. Joaddar now, the working from home during COVID-19 are going well, except for some challenges in network connectivity. Do you believe that there is an opportunity for investment in this space?
This is for Kausar bhai. Monor cannot ask me question.
Okay, yes, I agree. If I say in a one word that yes, our network connectivity, though we are in 4G, 5G situation, but sometimes we see in very important organization also they are having network issue. Sometimes very high level meetings got disrupted, disconnected because of network. So might be one of the reason we have so many traffic in the system also the on the other side. So this is demand supply, both side actually need to be fixed. Of course, supply from the network operator, they should do better job in terms of having us better service, because in future we are going to have hybrid workplace, as Joaddar was saying, that might be 60-40 or 75-25 25% of the worker would work from home. So this hybrid workplace servicing need better job from the network provider.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Mr. Jangir Alam, who is a CMA professional working currently in Indonesia, Jakarta. His question is that actually his thought is that Bangladesh professional institutes are actually lagging behind than the subcontinent or Indian in terms of using ERP, BI, and what should be the role of the professional accountant here to actually gap that pace? Joaddar bhai, if you answer.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is a good question, and I think that is exactly the discussion point today. I mean, all this ERP is not anything new anymore in Bangladesh. There are many organizations have rolled out ERP and BI tool and various other systems. We talked about AI, talked about machine learning, and so on. These things are coming to country already. There are many organizations using them. So I think for what we need to do as a professional, we need to start believing that this is life is going to be all about all these tools that are in tools that you're talking about today, and also there are more will come in future. So our role will be, if we are to become successful or help organizations succeed, we have to understand things that all the development that is happening in the technology space, and make sure you understand them, make sure you understand how to use them, and also make sure we understand the data that comes out of it, how to you know you know utilize that for better business decision making. And for us as a professional to understand, to kind of learn this, I think only way we do that is to take this as a challenge, and then read about it, go to the expert, attend some training course or whatever it needs to be able to understand the some of these advanced technologies. So I think there is no alternative of learning. I think, as Kausar has very rightly pointed out, that in learning should never stop, because I think in the earlier era things have changed. Change has taken a long time, but now I think change just happens every year. You don't see some of the thing that you have seen last year. So
Yeah.
changes are happening like at a very, very faster pace. So that means we need to continuously learn, and we should not stop learning, never give up. I think that is the only way to for us professional to remain up to date, remain relevant in this era. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you. If I may take,
sure.
Yasir, are you asking the same question to me? or the other one?
Another question is very much near to the previous one. I think you can get us here. So the question is from Mr. Jahid Santipu, is the newly qualified CMA. In digital era, all knows digitization, machine language is very important to face the next generation challenges. But professional institutions in BD, how they are contributing? So that is his question.
Actually, again, as Joaddar was saying, in Bangladesh, our experience of digitization is not too long. It is plus minus 10 years. Like our national level digital Bangladesh started in 2009-10. So that has created certain understanding. That's not the all. In the corporate level, as I told, only multinational companies, corporate used to use ERPs. Let's take, I worked with British American Tobacco in mid 1990, exactly 1995, we use Sage CS3 European ERP. So this is for them it is 25, 26 years. But so many organizations in Bangladesh, similarly other MNCs in the same experience. But so many organizations in Bangladesh like plus minus 5 years of ERP or digitized accounting system or ERP system usage experience. So we have to actually admit this particular ground also. So once we are actually graduating with usage of information, then there would be demand from the top. This demand actually has to come from the top. Analytical thing, fine thing actually has to come from the top of the organization. Then the entire organization would focus and work on that. So for us, actually, we have to wait little bit. And I also fully appreciate the question two gentlemen raised from one, Mr. Jangir from Indonesia. I know him, and also Tipu, I also know him. So actually, the question is very valid. My also personal observation is the way our economy is growing over last more than 20 years at a decent rate. Even within COVID, we are growing across above the world rate and in a decent manner. But the same way our professionalism is not growing. We have to admit that. Let's take professionalism. It's a big word. If we browse, we can see so many meanings of this. But my take is like if we take in a relative view, like our Asian country like South Korea, like Singapore, for that matter, like Japan. These three are the world-class example. Then Middle East, another thing that is coming second to these three countries. So the way their economic grown and professionalism grown, the same rate, it is not wise also to compare our economy with these three countries. But I am correlating the way we are growing in terms of economical aspects, the same way we are having qualified people, so many graduates, professional people also coming up, but the same way our professionalism is not evolving. Might be reason behind the organization at large we are working, like large local organization, they are yet to realize fully to train or to set the trend of super level professionalism to compete with South Korean companies, to compete with Japan or Korea or Singapore. So this is also another dimension that, of course, we at individual level and also at institute level, as Tipu was saying, that has role to play in terms of setting professionalism. We are actually giving certificates to the our incumbent or to the students, but that should make significant behavioral difference into them so that they can actually equally place them with their peer who is working in Singapore, who is working in Middle East, who is working in other countries. Let's take a qualified accountant. Sometimes we, for many aspects, we could not equally even place ourselves with our neighboring country accountants. That's why we are failing in terms of getting job at home and also at abroad. So this is a significant area actually, which I was also pondering for a long time, that we need to improve at individual level or also at national level, that professionalism and our quality, our product actually speaks or says about itself that he is a qualified person. So that there is a missing link, there is a gap, might be sometimes down the line with our understanding and delivered effort, it would be covered up.
Thank you. We have a different question. I don't know whether this is relevant, but the question is from Mr. Rizal Karim. He is the Director General of Bangladesh Taxation Academy. And his question is that how the cryptocurrency will shape the future global economy. So if this is not
Joaddar is the
relevant,
master here.
no, I
I'm
think
not.
yeah, if this is not relevant to the audience, we are sharing you that we actually will arrange the fourth Vienna talks on 15th March, and on that episode, we have two distinguished guests, Mr. Mahatabuddin Ahmed, he's the Managing Director and CEO of Robi, and Mr. Yasir Azman, he's the CEO of Grameen Phone. I think we can ask him that's the same question. Lastly, I think these questions are already covered, but maybe that the join later. That is how the machine learning, RPA, AI, blockchain, digital currency can shape the future job market. Will it be blessing or threat? So I think both of Joaddar and Kausar already covered. If you just give a shade to the question, a little bit. Is it a
So you say,
threat or blessing?
okay. See, I think it could be both. I mean, let me be a little blunt here.
Mhm.
If you get yourself ready for that, then it might become a blessing. But if we don't get ourselves ready, then it might become a massive challenge, because that 90% of the job that you do today, it may not exist, right? So if we train ourselves to expand that 10% to become 90%, then of course all these things are going to help you. But I think overall, if you ask me, the way I see it, it is going to play a big role in shaping the way company works, deliver services or products. So I think it is going to make the organization a lot more efficient than today, and it will also turn human to become even more efficient. So I think all in all, I think I'll be inclined to say more blessings than kind of anything to do anything negative here. Thank you.
Kausar, last few words.
Actually, thank you very much for having me with this particular discussion. Enjoyed thoroughly the company of you, and also, of course, Joaddar. And this is, we are not expert in this area. We are working in ICT application. By virtue of our experience, we have tried to share our experiences. If by some means it is useful to our audience, we would be actually really happy, and we look forward that someday our all professionals would be up to the actually, that the last point I mentioned, that this is my own point also, like I want to see that our professionals are at par with the global level people, because producing number is not the end. We have to actually produce quality so that we can compete. In Bangladesh, actually, we are also not producing enough number. We are having that of professionally qualified accountants. So there should be more number, and also, of course, more world-class quality accountant in our country to take the responsibility of our vision 2020 and also 2041. And of course, tremendous opportunities are lying ahead. This is only depend on new generation, and all digitization, as I see it, it is being done by human, with the thought that it would help the human in terms of business or any other terms. So it should only help. Of course, it has also some downside. It is sometimes rewarding in a different manner. So you have got to be also ready to accept the reward from the digitization in coming days. So I would stop here. Thank you very much, Yasir. Thank you, Joaddar.
Thank you.
Anything?
No, I think Yasir, thank you very much for having me again. Good discussions, and of course, it was a great to be with Kausar Bhai as well. Very learned person.
Okay.
So a lot to learn. So yeah, I mean, I hope that this conversation was helpful for some of us. If it helps someone's thinking process little bit, that will be the success of this session. So and Yasir, you're doing great job. I've seen your previous episodes as well, and I heard the next one as well. I think it's a brilliant thing that you're doing for the professionals, and I'm sure some of these things will bring a lot of value. And if at least one person's life is shaped
Yeah.
based on these conversation or these work that you're doing, I think that is the success that you can be proud of. So well done, Yasir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joaddar bhai and Councilor for your time from your busy schedule. This is the VNA Talks, the third edition, and we are very much close to the session. Usually, last two episodes we closed in 1 hour, but still we are getting questions from the audience, and that's why we have actually extended today's session. Those of you, due to your business or your office schedule, couldn't listen or attend the program, this program is live broadcasted and recorded in our VNA Talks Facebook page, VNA Talks YouTube channel. You can see the previous episode as well, and you can put your comment. So we'll definitely be with you on 15 March, 8:30, same channel with two new guests, Mr. Madhavuddin, the CEO of Robi, and Mr. Yasir Asban, CEO of Grameen Fund. Thank you so much for with us, and thanks both our distinguished guests. Good evening.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
our respected
Good
audience.
night.
Bye.